Okay, I want to thank you all for tuning in, logging on to another episode of Illuminati News Hour. Right here, Illuminati Radio Podcast Show. I'm your host, I'm your pastor, Mr. Michael Smith. If you're new to this podcast, make sure you hit that follow button. Turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified when I drop this breaking news on you. And don't forget, if you want to donate to this podcast, you're welcome to do so. The Cash App is $ Illuminati Radio Fund. That's $ Illuminati Radio FUND. And Europe is going to be a cold winter for Europe. All of the EU is going to be a cold winter. Just like it is in Russia, cold, it's going to be cold in Europe. Let's go ahead and hear this.
One of President Biden's closest aides has urged Russia not to exploit the energy crisis that's causing gas shortages across Europe. Russia insists much of the problem lies with Europe's decision not to take out long-term contracts for which it's now paying the price. Mark Lobel reports.
So you remember what I told you, people? Did I not tell you that, you know what I'm saying, it's all about contracts? The reason why, you know what I'm saying, we got the oil spill over there on the coast of California is for, because the oil company that is responsible for the oil spill is going to reserve billions of dollars for cleanup, for the oil cleanup, which that is going to in return create thousands of government contracts through independent contractors. Is going to create jobs for government workers who with independent companies who can, you know what I'm saying, clean up. Same way with the Exxon. Same way with the, you know what I'm saying, the BP. You know what I'm saying? It's all about government contracts. And Russia is, you know what I'm saying, is pulling back on energy to the EU because they refuse to take out long-term contracts. It's all about long-term contracts. Same way when you buy a house and you take out a loan from a bank to buy a house, what do they want? They want them long-term contracts. They want them 30-year fixed rate mortgage loans. You see what I'm saying? When you take out a business loan, they want them long-term contracts. It's all about the money, people.
Gas and electricity price surge is alarming consumers across Europe.
I am very, very worried, very concerned. We struggle enough.
There are mothers today who have to choose between paying for their energy bill or feeding their children. That's the problem. The colder weather is coming fast. We need to heat a pot.
Damn. They said they got to choose between heating their homes or feeding their children. That's crazy. And people in America, don't you get comfortable, because it's coming here too. The rich stay rich and the poor stay poor. It's coming here too. Don't you worry. You know what I'm saying? But Europe is getting it heavy.
If you go to the poorer areas where there is suffering, no one puts on the heating because everyone knows they won't be able to pay for it.
A record demand for gas.
Wait a minute. What did you say? They said if you go to the poor areas, no one puts on the heat. So the companies, the energy companies in Europe don't put on the heat in the poor areas because they know that they won't be able to pay for it. Wow. Let's go ahead and rewind that again.
Limited storage in the EU is fueling for their energy bill or feeding their children. That's the problem. The colder weather is coming fast. We need to heat apartments.
Across Europe.
I am very, very worried, very concerned. We struggle enough.
There are mothers today who have to choose between paying for their energy bill or feeding their children. That's the problem. The colder weather is coming fast. We need to heat apartments. If you go to the poorer areas where there is suffering, no one puts on the heating because everyone knows they won't be able to pay for it.
A record demand.
Did you guys hear that? And this is going on today. This is what's happening now. You know what I'm saying? They said no one puts on the heating in the poor areas because they know that the poor areas is not going to be able to pay their heating bill. They say that they got to choose between feeding their children and putting on the heat in their homes. I'm going to rewind that again so you guys can hear it.
One of President Biden's closest aides has urged Russia not to exploit the energy crisis that's causing gas shortages across Europe. Russia insists much of the problem lies with Europe's decision not to take out long-term contracts for which it's now paying the price.
You hear that? Europe's decision not to take out long-term contracts. You know what I'm saying? We want to heat your country, but we don't want no short-term contracts. We don't want short-term pay. We want long-term pay. We want you guys. And let me tell you another thing, people. And that's why, you know what I'm saying, these record labels, who is owned by who? Who is owned by the white Jewish people, right? What do they do when they sign an artist? They give you $100 million. And then, you know what I'm saying, they give you $100 million and they give you how many albums or how many years for that $100 million. They know you're not going to be able to pay back that $100 million. So in return, what do they get? They get, you know what I'm saying, they get your artists, like Cash Money Records. Cash Money Records had two big artists, Nicki Minaj and Drake. Universal gave Cash Money $100 million. Universal had to take Drake and Nicki Minaj from Cash Money, from the baby. You see how it works? But let me tell you something. It's all, you know what I'm saying? That's coming here now.
Global reports.
The gas and electricity price surge is alarming consumers across Europe.
I am very, very worried, very concerned. We struggle enough.
There are mothers today who have to choose between paying for their energy bill or feeding their children. That's the problem. The colder weather is coming fast. We need to heat apartments.
That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? They said there's mothers today that got to choose between paying their bills or feeding their children. I'm going to rewind that again so you guys can hear it.
If you go to the poorer areas,
We're very concerned. We struggle enough.
there are mothers today who have to choose between paying for their energy bill or feeding their children. That's the problem. The colder weather is coming fast. We need to heat apartments. If you go to the poorer areas where there is suffering, no one puts on the heating because everyone knows they won't be able to pay for it.
A record demand for gas and limited storage in the EU is fueling politicians' fears for the future. Russia supplies 40% of the EU's natural gas imports. Moscow once feared a falling oil price would undermine its economy. Now, it's calling the shots. Watch the price of gas plummet as Vladimir Putin is televised, suggesting a possible increase of gas supply on Wednesday, but he has little sympathy for his European customers. All of its activities were aimed at curtailing the so-called long-term contracts, focusing on the transition to gas exchange trading. It turns out this policy was wrong. It didn't account for uncertainties.
See, it's a business. It's a business. You know what I'm saying? What did I tell you about the U.S.? I told you the biggest things that the U.S. make their money in: oil and drugs. Oil and drugs. And it's a, you know what I'm saying? And the reason why Russia want long-term contracts, because Russia want to have Europe as a client for a long time. See, if Europe takes out a short-term contract with Russia's oil supply, then that means Europe can, you know what I'm saying, choose another oil supplier when the Russian contract is up. Russia want that long-term money, not short-term. And the U.S. is out for oil as well.
Russia's main gas producer insists it's blameless.
Since the beginning of the year, we have supplied foreign markets with near record amounts of gas. We increased deliveries to our largest consumer market, Germany, by a third compared to the last year, to Turkey by 2.5 times, to Romania by 4 times. We supplied additional volumes of gas along all routes, including the Ukrainian route, as much as we could.
But Ukraine's gas operator says that Russia has reduced the amount it routes through the country between January and September by 17% compared to the previous year. Russia says the new Nord Stream 2 underwater pipeline would save Europe's sticky situation, but only if Germany and Brussels quickly approve the project to get it flowing. Not every...
Underwater pipeline, huh? Kind of like what's going on over there in California, huh? Kind of like what's going on over there in California, huh? A pipeline bust and it leaked all this oil into the California Ocean. Really?
One thinks Russia is acting reasonably.
We've long been concerned about Russia using energy as a tool of coercion and a political weapon. We've seen it happen before, and we could see it happen again. I think it would be a mistake for Russia to try to exploit this. I think that would ultimately backfire on them, and I believe that they should respond to the market demands for increased energy supplies to Europe.
That comes from more demand as countries emerge from the pandemic, depleted storage tanks after a cold end to the winter, China consuming more gas, and low wind speeds that reduce renewable energy. So right now, Russia remains under pressure to increase supply, driven by a volatile market, which is powering its bargaining position too. Mark Lobel, BBC News.
Well, I spoke with Roman Svedas, a former Lithuanian diplomat and deputy energy minister. I began by asking him whether he thought Russia was taking advantage of the energy crisis.
The experience of my country, Lithuania, shows that Russia...
Hell yeah, Russia's taking advantage of the energy crisis. Subdue them contracts now before any other country. You know what I'm saying? So get your contracts now so that you can get a big line share of the market. This is the oil market. This is the gas market. Anyway.
Is using and abusing its dominant situation in energy supplies. So I am convinced that Russia is using this deliberately in order to push European Union to finalize fast completion of Nord Stream 2 and project and commissioning of Nord Stream 2 project.
So you think it is doing what the US has accused it of doing? Is there any way of stopping it, do you think? Any kind of pressure the US and the EU can put on Russia to stop it doing this?
To my mind, what's happening now, it's only the beginning. Now what we've got pressure from Russia in order to complete Nord Stream 2 project and to launch it. And also it creates an economic crisis in Europe. But later, to my opinion, when Nord Stream 2 will be commissioned and the dependence of European Union will become much more heavier on gas supplies from Russia, Russia will start to influence not only economic agenda, but also a political agenda. A heavy dependency on energy supplies and gas supplies leads to abuse to the situation. Imagine in European Union there is a discussion on introduction or non-introduction of sanctions for Russia, and what would be the situation of Germany? It would be a very big discussion.
So what's the answer then, going forward? What, for example, is the role of the United States in all this?
It seems that the current position of the United States is to let this project Nord Stream 2 to be finished, and this is the situation, and Nord Stream 2 project, to my mind, will be finished. It's only a matter of time. What the European Union should do, it should follow the policy, what it declares officially, in fact, to...
Amen. I want to thank you all for tuning in and logging on to another episode of Illuminati News Hour right here, Illuminati Radio. I'm your host, I'm your pastor, Mr. Michael Smith. If you're new to this podcast, make sure you hit that follow button, turn on your notification bell so you can be notified when I drop this breaking news on you. Don't forget, people, if you want to donate to this podcast, you're welcome to do so. The Cash App is $Illuminati Radio Fund.